Hey guys, good morning. I'm here to read chapter 24. Stella's talking. So last chapter, Avon had been called a Kavanaugh, which was weird, and she had been searching for tarantulas. So here we go, chapter 24. The fun and success of Christmas had me thinking a lot about Stagecoach Pass. The park had gotten old and tired. Everyone in town had visited at one point and didn't feel the need to come back. There was no draw. Even the food at the steakhouse probably got old because they only served a few different things. Something needed to change or there wouldn't be a Stagecoach Pass for very long. And then who knew where we'd go? My parents were so busy keeping up with all the little tasks that went into running the place that they didn't have time to see the bigger picture. But I did. As we sat down one chilly January night for dinner together, I told them my ideas. You know, I walked through Stagecoach Pass yesterday, and I counted 17 empty storefronts. 17. Dad sighed. I know. This place is like a ghost town. It makes the place look sad, I said. We need to get some stuff in here for people to do. Stuff for people to buy. And it makes, it takes money to fill the buildings with employees and merchandise, Mom said. I frowned. Can't we take out a loan? I heard you have to spend money to make money. I didn't know what that music was. I had a tab open. Oops. Dad laughed. Where'd you hear that? On a commercial. Well, that may be true sometimes, Dad said, but I think the park already took out a couple of loans just to keep going. I'd have to talk to Gary about that, but I don't think it's an option. Isn't there some other way to get stuff in here? I said. Dad took a swig of his water. I suppose we could rent the spaces, but then we'd have to worry about finding businesses. And what kind of businesses should be allowed to rent here? Of course, I said. We would want that to be cowboyish. I eyed both of them. You know, I've been writing down ideas for a while now. Ideas for the park. We'd love to hear your ideas, sweetie, Mom said. I went back to my room, grabbed my notebook, and returned to the table. I opened it with my toes. Things that Stagecoach Pass needs to bring in business, I read aloud. Number 1. I looked at them dramatically. A lighter food option. We have the steakhouse for a big, fat, greasy meal, and we have the soda shop for a large ice cream sundae when you only ask for a single cone, but there's no deli or sandwich shop or anything like that for a nice little lunch. I could tell they liked the idea, so I went on. Number 2. Coffee and smoothies. Whenever Mom and I go shopping, I notice the malls always have some kind of coffee and smoothie place. Number 3. More shopping. Navajo jewelry like the earrings you bought me. A cool leather shop. A hat store that specializes in custom cowboy hats. Stuff like that. Wow, Avon, Dad said. Those are all great ideas. It's just complicated, honey. How is it complicated? I asked. Well, Mom said, for one thing, how do we even find these vendors? I shrugged and went back to eating my dinner, sorry my ideas had fallen flat. Then I remembered Mr. Jeffries, my art teacher, telling us about an art festival in a town called Fountain Hills that was happening next weekend. He encouraged us all to go and check out the local artists' work. There's a giant art festival in Fountain Hills next weekend, I said. There will be like 500 artists. Maybe we could find some cool vendors there. Mom and Dad looked at each other. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to go check it out, Mom said. It might be fun. And what if we had our own art festival, I said, getting excited now, with artists and food and music and fireworks? Mom and Dad both laughed. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Dad said, but I couldn't help it. My mind was going crazy now. It's a great opportunity for the artists to check out Stagecoach Pass and see if they might want to rent a space here. Main Street is huge. We could have a huge art festival. You should have it by early April before it gets too hot outside. Oh, and I saw this show about food trucks and... Slow down, Sheebs, Dad said. How about we start with visiting this festival and see how it goes from there? But if we're going to have our own art festival, the best way to let the artists know would be to tell them about it at this art festival in Fountain Hills. I'd have to get the approval before doing anything, Dad said. You mean from the dead owner? Dad laughed. Avon, the owner is not dead, and yes, I'd have to get approval from the very much alive owner. But I thought you said he'd give you total free reign of the park. Well, there are permits and a whole bunch of other stuff to take care of, Dad said. Then get on it, Daddy-O. Time's a-wastin'. He looked at me with pride in his eyes. My daughter, the ultimate problem solver. You have trained me well, Jedi Master, I said. Very good, Jedi learner person. I rolled my eyes at him. Not quite, Dad. Zion's parents would have had a way better comeback. So, speaking of dead owners, Mom said, what's going on with your top secret investigation? Find any more clues about the Kavanaughs? Not really. The guitar was the last thing we found. The boys had brought it up to the apartment for me, and I'd shown it to my parents. They thought it was pretty cool, but it didn't really tell us anything about the Kavanaughs. And just because the last initial was C, didn't mean it had belonged to a Kavanaugh. But you know how I told you Henry always talks to me like he thinks I'm someone else? They nodded. Well, he called me Avon Kavanaugh on Christmas Eve. Don't you think that's kind of weird? Mom and Dad looked at each other. That is mildly intriguing, said Dad. Strange, said Mom. But he did call me Elizabeth Taylor the other day. She ran her hand through her long, dark hair. Easy to see how he could make that mistake, of course. I had no idea who Elizabeth Taylor was, but Dad said, absolutely, as he carried his empty plate to the sink. I have to go check out the old building with the broken-down bull. One of the workers told me they peeked in the window and saw a bunch of mice running around. He groaned. The keys in the office are such a mess. I hope I can figure out which one even opens it. What keys? I asked him. Keys to the park, he said. The most important ones are all labeled, but there are about 50 that I have no idea what they're there for. I have a feeling I'm going to be there all night trying out keys. I didn't know you had all those keys, I said. Of course I have keys, Sheebs. I can't run this place without keys. Well, it just so happens I'm looking for a key. What is she looking for a key for? What do y'all think? See you later.